So this unit is all about a concept called a ratio. Now, ratios are fun, but they cause people difficult because this is the precursor to algebra. So we start our algebra unit in unit 4. We'll spend units 4, 5, and 6 talking about pre-algebra. But we need to have an understanding that we develop here so that we're successful when we get to our algebra course. Okay? So a concept of a ratio. So today, kind of keeping it a little bit on this the simpler side. We're focusing on what it is, and we're focusing on how to write a ratio. Now, not very difficult. Trying to keep it bite-sized so it is manageable, but please understand that everything that we're doing in math for here until 3 weeks, 4 weeks, is going to build on each other. So if you don't ask me questions now and you just proceed through the unit not understanding something, you will struggle down the road. Just letting you know. So we're talking about the idea of a ratio, and we use ratios to compare things, compare stuff in the real world. And last week we talked about our comparing symbols that we have: less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, equals, does not equal. We reviewed all those last week, and we used those to compare quantities. So if I had 49 and 3, well, 49 is greater than 3 because it's larger, or 49 is closer to the, or further to the right, closer to positive infinity. We talked about all this last week. Same thing. The comparing negative 12 to the absolute value of negative 12, we're comparing negative 12 to positive 12. Well, negative 12 is less than positive 12 because negative 12 is on the left. But what do we do in situations where we're comparing 2 apples and 3 oranges? Do our grouping symbols work? What do you think? Type in chat. How do we compare 2 apples and 3 oranges? Josue says 2 apples is greater than 3 oranges. Who disagrees with Josue? Olivia says 2 apples is less than 3 oranges. Oh no, we gotta. Oh no, Josue says 2 apples is less than 3 oranges. But here's the deal. What if you're allergic to oranges? Would 3 oranges still be greater than 2 apples? How do we compare different things? Okay. It's like comparing boys to girls. 7 boys to 8 girls. Who's better? I guess there's more girls, but are they greater than? I don't know. So this is where the idea of ratios come in, because in ratios, we start looking at comparing quantities. Now, a quantity is a group of things that we can count. I have a quantity of note cards. I have a quantity of envelopes. I have a quantity of students. So I can count these things. They're physical things. Can I count the number 42? Well, I can count 242, but I don't have 42 things in front of me to count. Okay? So we are talking about a quantity, a physical thing that I can touch or see or visualize, a noun. If I can pull in writing. If you're going to let me pull in writing, I'm counting nouns. 42 is not a noun. It is an adjective. So we're comparing quantities or actual things when we use ratios. And when we go back to our example, is an apple a noun? Yeah, it's a thing. Is an orange a noun? Yes, it's a thing. Is 3 a noun? No, it's an adjective. It describes how many of something. So we're going to talk about fractions, because a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you talked about this idea, this concept, this thing called a fraction. Raise your hand or give me thumbs up in chat if you like fractions. Thumbs down in chat if you don't like fractions. Otilia likes fractions. Hasiel does not. David likes fractions. Leo does not. I'm going to be honest. If I had to choose between fractions and decimals, I would pick decimals, guys. Anybody know why I would pick decimals over fractions? Not necessarily because it's easier. What works better in a calculator? Decimals. So, it's my personal preference. But there are some people that like fractions better. They're allowed to like fractions better. It's like, do you like fish or do you don't like fish? Well, most of you, according to your paragraph of the week, don't like fish. That's fine. I personally love it. Oh, if I could eat fish every day. All right, so anyways, draw a picture that shows what the fraction 1/2 means. Well, that's simple. So that's not a picture, by the way. I'm just showing you the fraction 1/2. To draw a picture, I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to divide that rectangle into two pieces. I'm going to color one of them N. So we have one rectangle, two rectangles. We have one big rectangle. So two pieces to one big rectangle. Where do we see the 1 down here in this rectangle? Type in chat. Where do we see the 1 for this rectangle down here? It's in the white, or you could say it's in the black. I probably should have started with this question, right? Yep. So it's one of the boxes. The 2 is found where? Where do we see the 2 in the fraction in this rectangle? Our rectangle is what? Both pieces, right? One rectangle cut into 2 equal pieces. So 2 equal pieces, one of them is colored in. Right? Does everybody kind of dusting those cobwebs off on what a fraction means? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if so, and you're following along, ratios are exactly the same. They're the same. I have one piece that's shaded in. I have 2 pieces total. So I can compare the number of shaded pieces to the total number of pieces by writing a ratio. I have 1 shaded to 2 pieces. They're nouns. 1 shaded piece, 2 total pieces. They're both nouns, and I'm comparing the 1 to both of them. How about this? How many female 6th grade teachers are there? Well, this would work better if you were here and you saw our faces every day. So I'm going to let you in on the secret. We have 2. We have Mrs. Sheets. We have Miss Gallagher. How many 6th grade male teachers are there? Well, we got my brother from another mother, Abs here, Mr. Abner. And then we got this ugly guy who was balding really bad and just needs to shave his head. Me. So if I'm comparing female teachers to male teachers, I would say it is a 2 to 2 ratio. I'm comparing 2 female teachers to 2 male teachers. Which brings us to the lesson for today. Remember, when you see this, the lined paper, this is, yeah, I did. This is what you need to know. We are comparing 2 quantities. You can compare more. You could have 3 or 4. That's, we're not worried about right now. Okay. But you can write a ratio one of 3 ways. One way out of 3 possible. A 1 to 3 ratio. The first way that you can do this is you can use the word to. T-O. Female teachers to 2 male teachers. Oh, that. Oops. Typo. Typo. There we go. No typo. 2 female teachers to 2 male teachers. Or 48 words to 5 sentences. I'm using the word to. The second way, the more mathematical way, is to use what we call a colon. If you look at your keyboard, right next to the letter L, oops, this way. right next to the letter L, you have the semicolon on the bottom, and the top is the colon. You'd have to hit shift semicolon to get your colon to appear, but we use a colon. Now, when we see that, yes, Bree, that is it. Fire, that is it. Yuma, that is it. Good job. When we see 2 female teachers, colon, 2 male teachers, we don't say colon. You're going to read it as 2. 2 female, 2 male, done. 48, 2, 5 sentences. 48 words, 5 sentences. The last way is kind of what we've already talked about. You can use it as a fraction. Ladies and gentlemen, fractions are basically just ratios. You're comparing the total part to a whole part. Okay? So you're going to be asked today to write ratios by looking at images and to write them one of 3 ways. Using the word 2, using a colon, or as a fraction. Okay? Now, I have one final lesson to teach you. It's this box up here. We're going to come back to it. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I do care about that. Darn it. Okay. So looking at this picture, Tom's Pet Service takes care of cats and dogs. Currently, there are more dogs than cats. Compare the number of cats to the number of dogs. Then compare the total number of cats to the total number of pets. So we're going to just worry about cats to dogs. If we look, we have 14 cats and we have 17 dogs. So I'm going to write a comparison of cats to dogs. So what number do I need to list first? 14 cats or 17 dogs? Write it in chat right now. If I'm comparing cats to dogs, I need to put what quantity first? Okay. If I'm comparing cats to dogs, I need to put cats first. So in this case, I'm going to put 14 first, and then I'm going to choose my method of writing a ratio, either 2, colon, or as a fraction. And then I'm going to write 17 for the dogs. Same thing. If I'm comparing the number of cats to the total number of animals, it'll be 14 to the total number of animals. In this case, it's going to be 31. Now, here's an important question. Why, if I'm comparing cats to total, is 31 to 14 not correct? Anybody know? Anybody want to take a stab and unmute? Why is 31 to 14 not correct? What does 31 represent? In my ratio, 31 represents what? Does 31 represent the total number of cats, or does 31 represent the total number of animals? Total number of animals. So if I'm comparing cats to total number of animals, okay, and I put the total number of animals first, I'm going to get this wrong, because there aren't 31 cats, because that would make no sense. If I said there are 31 cats to 14 animals total, we got some problems, right? So this brings me back to my final lesson right here. When you're using ratios, order matters. If it's asking you to find first quantity, second quantity, your answer better be first quantity, second quantity. So there's 33 of us here in this class. I don't know what the exact number is, but let's just say, for instance, 17 boys to 16 girls. If I said the total ratio of girls to boys was 17 to 16, then I'm calling all of the boys girls. Girls or boys, do you want to be called girls? Girls, I'm not even going to ask you if you want to be called boys, because I know the answer is an obvious, overwhelming no, because boys are smelly. Okay? And immature. So order matters. Where's this in real life? Well, I love this example. Okay. Right now, we've got a global warming situation. We've got increasing carbon emissions. So a lot of people are trying to limit how many cars are on the road. So if you travel by bus, one bus replaces 20 cars on the road. Okay. That's good. 1 to 20. Okay. Traffic is awful. Carbon emissions are awful. Cities like New York, Chicago, LA, we have so many issues with smog and pollution from cars. If we can reduce the number of cars that are on the road, we're going to help our planet. That's not the only thing that we can do, and it's not going to solve the problem. There's other things that we need to do. But ratios are real life. So I'm hoping in the next couple of days to show you how just real they are. But starting today, keeping it simple, you're looking at quantities and you're writing them.